There is one place on Earth where almost no outsider has ever set foot and lived to tell the story. An island so mysterious that even getting close to it is against the law. Surrounded by crystal clear water and covered in thick jungle, it looks like a tropical paradise. But appearances can be deceiving. This is North Sentinel Island, located in the Bay of Bengal between India and Myanmar. It is one of the Andaman Islands and covers only about 60 square kilometers. From above, it looks untouched by modern civilization. There are no roads, no buildings, no electricity, and no signs of the outside world. The island is home to the Sentinelese, one of the last uncontacted tribes on Earth. Experts believe they have lived there for tens of thousands of years, surviving entirely by hunting, fishing, and gathering food from the forest and surrounding waters. Very little is known about them. No one knows exactly how many people live on the island. Estimates range from around 40 to 200 individuals. No one knows what language they speak because there has never been a successful conversation with them. Their customs, traditions, and beliefs remain a complete mystery. Unlike many indigenous tribes that have had some contact with the modern world, the Sentinelese have consistently rejected outsiders. Whenever boats get too close, tribe members often appear on the beach carrying bows and arrows. They make it very clear that visitors are not welcome. To many people, this reaction may seem hostile, but from the Sentinelese point of view, they are simply protecting their home. Every stranger represents a possible threat, whether from violence or disease. Their isolation has made them one of the most fascinating groups of people on Earth. But it has also made them one of the most vulnerable. That is exactly why governments and scientists now believe the best way to protect them is to leave them completely alone. But that wasn't always the case. For more than a century, outsiders have tried to make contact with the Sentinelese. Almost every attempt ended in failure. One of the earliest recorded expeditions took place in the late 1800s, when British naval officer Maurice Vidal Portman landed on the island with an armed team. After exploring the jungle, they found abandoned villages, but very few people. Eventually, they captured an elderly man, an elderly woman, and 4 children, taking them away from the island. The outcome was tragic. Within days, the 2 elderly adults became seriously ill and died, most likely because they had no immunity to diseases carried by outsiders. The children were later returned to North Sentinel Island with gifts, but historians believe this event only increased the tribe's distrust of the outside world. Over the following decades, several expeditions returned to the island. Researchers left gifts such as coconuts, metal pots, and tools on the beach, hoping to build trust. Sometimes the Sentinelese accepted the gifts after the visitors had left. Other times, they fired arrows immediately, making it clear they wanted everyone to stay away. One of the most famous encounters happened in 1974, when a National Geographic documentary crew attempted to film the island. As cameras rolled, a Sentinelese warrior fired an arrow that struck the documentary director in the leg. He survived the injury, but the message was unmistakable. Outsiders were not welcome. After years of failed contact, the Indian government gradually changed its approach. Instead of trying to communicate with the tribe, officials decided the safest option was to protect their isolation. That decision would soon prove to be one of the most important choices ever made for the survival of the Sentinelese. On December 26, 2004, one of the deadliest natural disasters in history struck the Indian Ocean. A massive underwater earthquake triggered a tsunami that killed more than 230,000 people across 14 countries. Entire towns were destroyed. Millions of people lost their homes. But there was one question that worried scientists the most. What had happened to the Sentinelese? Because North Sentinel Island lies in the path of the tsunami, many feared the entire tribe had been wiped out. A few days later, the Indian government sent a helicopter to check for survivors. As it flew over the island, the crew spotted movement below. Then something incredible happened. A Sentinelese man stepped out from the trees, picked up his bow, aimed at the helicopter, and fired an arrow into the sky. It wasn't just an act of defense. It was proof that the tribe had survived one of the most powerful natural disasters ever recorded. Many experts believe the Sentinelese recognized the warning signs of the tsunami long before it hit. Like some other indigenous communities, they may have noticed the ocean suddenly pulling back. changes in animal behavior, or unusual sounds from the earth. They likely moved to higher ground before the giant waves reached the shore. That single arrow became one of the most famous images ever associated with North Sentinel Island. It reminded the world that the Sentinelese were still alive, still independent, and still determined to protect their home from the outside world. But just 14 years later, someone would ignore every warning and pay the ultimate price. In 2018, the world once again turned its attention to North Sentinel Island. A Arshelu-year-old American missionary named John Allen Chau believed it was his mission to make contact with the Sentinelese and introduce them to Christianity. He knew the journey was illegal. He knew outsiders were banned from approaching the island, and he knew previous visitors had been attacked. But he went anyway. Chau paid local fishermen to secretly take him as close to the island as possible. From there, he paddled a small kayak toward the beach alone. His first attempt ended quickly. Members of the tribe appeared on the shore with bows and arrows, shouting at him. He tried to speak to them and even offered gifts, but they refused. One arrow reportedly struck the Bible he was carrying. Most people would have left. Instead, Chau returned the next day. According to the fishermen watching from a distance, he stepped onto the beach once again. Shortly afterward, Sentinelese warriors surrounded him. The fishermen later reported seeing his body being dragged across the sand before they fled the area. Indian authorities launched an investigation, but made the difficult decision not to recover his body. Sending a rescue team onto the island could have sparked another violent confrontation and, even worse, exposed the Sentinelese to deadly diseases. The incident made headlines around the world. Some saw Chau as a man driven by faith. Others believed he had knowingly put both himself and the isolated tribe in danger. His death became a powerful reminder of why North Sentinel Island remains one of the most protected places on Earth. Today, North Sentinel Island remains one of the greatest mysteries on Earth. Modern satellites can capture detailed images of the island, but they can't reveal what life is really like beneath the thick jungle canopy. No one knows exactly how the Sentinelese organize their society. We don't know what language they speak, what stories they tell their children, or what traditions they have passed down for thousands of years. Their daily lives remain almost completely unknown. The Indian government strictly enforces a no-contact policy, banning anyone from coming within 5 kilometers of the island. This isn't just to protect visitors, it's to protect the Sentinelese themselves. Even a common cold or the flu could spread through the tribe with devastating consequences, because they have little or no immunity to modern diseases. Many people dream of exploring every corner of our planet, but North Sentinel Island reminds us that not every mystery needs to be solved. Sometimes, the greatest act of respect is simply leaving people alone. In a world connected by satellites, airplanes, and the internet, the Sentinelese continue to live as they always have, independent, isolated, and determined to protect their home. Their island is more than just a forbidden place. It is a rare reminder that even in the 21st century, there are still parts of the world that remain truly untouched. And perhaps that's exactly how they should stay. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which mystery I should cover next.